being recorded. Let me know when you do that.
Yeah. Okay. Now
You
it says
good?
I acknowledged it. Yeah.
Okay, we are off and running. So, Alexandra, thanks for making time to do this interview.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
And you were saying just before we clicked on it, this was the week of Magic Legs, and it went,
Yeah.
Linchpin monthly fitness test, and it went well for you. So, what was the
Yeah.
deal?
Well, so I woke up and I like did not want to. I was not feeling it. I was like, I'm not gonna have magic legs. Like bad night of sleep, wasn't feeling good. I was like, well, I'm just gonna go in the garage and just get it done. And yeah, I ended up getting a 50-pound PR on my back squat from 6 months ago, and then getting a 10-pound PR from the 7x1 back squats 2 weeks ago.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I was like, how did like that day that we did the 7x1? I hit what I could that day.
Mm,
And so it was crazy that I just like did my quick single and it was like 10 pounds more. Boop.
good for you. Wow, must
Yeah.
have been, I mean, however it was, must have been a magical night's sleep, even if it didn't feel that way.
Well, and then 6 months ago when Magic Legs came up for the Metcon, I could only do the 25-pound dumbbells for the squatting
Okay.
that day. And I remember like looking at the box and just staring at it. Like my legs refused. Like I came in from the shuttle runs and my legs were like, how do you jump again?
Mm-hmm.
And this time I was able to use 60% of my 1 rep max. And so last time I got into the rounds of 16, this time I got into the rounds of 14 with
Good
the
for you.
60%. And I didn't have any stalling on the box jumps or the shuttle runs. Like, and then
That's
like,
a
so that was like,
huge improvement.
I was on like excited all week, telling my husband. He was all like, whatever, don't care. But then on Tuesday, I got my very first, like I've been doing CrossFit since 2016 consistently, like I've never wavered. And I got my very first kipping pull-ups in a workout.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
a
were
week.
sets of 3. My time, like I got fatigued really fast. So time was pathetic. It was nowhere near goal. But I have been trying to do those since I started CrossFit, and it's linchpin, like the working on the glutes, the working on the core, the working on the strength. It all came together in this beautiful.
But congrats to you, because obviously you're putting in the work. I mean, workouts only work if the people do them. And regardless of that goal time or whatnot, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment and achievement that you got those kipping pull-ups. So that's awesome. I'm super happy for you.
Yeah, that was from your linchpin conversations. Like I had asked the question, like, do you need the kipping? Because one of my friends was like, oh, just give it up. Like, just just give them up. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I should. And then you
Hmm.
made such a compelling argument of why to keep going for them.
Well, and the funny thing is when a lot of times when people unlock those skills, if they've been building a proper base and a progression, all that, like getting that first one always seems so monumental, like it'll never happen. And then, so like it could take, I don't know, 6 months or 6 years to get like rep number one.
Yeah.
And to get two doesn't take another 6 months or 6 years. Like it comes quickly.
Yeah, it
So
was just like 3 at once. And it was just like, who is this? Like, yeah, you feel like you've leveled up like some video game.
that's very, very awesome. Well, when you sent me some of the information on your backstory, one of the lines that I think is maybe a good place to start is you said that you want people to know if they walk away with one thing, work out like your life depends upon it because it does.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that your life depends on it in all the ways, like your quality of life, your mental health, the relationships you build, the way that you challenge yourself in your life, um, and just not your life quality in general as you age. I'm watching my parents now who always counted on youth for
Mm,
capabilities and functionalities, and they're just on this horribly steady decline of decay. And I'm like, you could change this. You could
right.
change how you feel. You could change your functionality. And they're basically becoming victims of the system, of our medical system. And I told my mom, like, Mom, you need to work out like your life depends on it, because it does. And we're not even talking about your ability to get up and down off the floor. We're talking about your brain, your
Right,
cognitive
sure.
diseases. And so to me, fitness changed my whole life. It changed the person I became, where my entire life went. And so to me, it's like it's more than just wanting to show up or work out, and
Hmm.
it's more about you just need to. Like
Oh
This will
yeah.
change your life.
It's heartbreaking when you see that happen to your parents and you know that maybe you couldn't solve all their problems, or maybe you couldn't undo 5, 6, 7 decades of inactivity and poor nutrition, but you could help to some degree,
Right.
and they just don't. I watch the same thing with my parents, or it just it is what it is. And a lot of those, our parents grew up in a different generation as to what they learned was or wasn't healthy and what exercise
Mhm,
did or didn't look like, or
mhm.
who, you know, I doubt that when my parents were growing up, there was a lot of women deadlifting in the gym.
Yeah,
Just didn't,
right.
it just didn't happen,
Same.
and so times
Yeah.
have changed significantly. And so you can only do what you can do. You can try to help, if people's ears are closed, but you can influence yourself, you can influence your children and all that. So, what, you said that you'd been battling since a young age some health issues that now have made, such a stark realization of how important moving well and in eating is. But what did you go through in your younger years that led you to this epiphany?
Well, as I had written to you, I had no athletic background growing up. Like, I wasn't exactly a particularly skilled child, active, but doesn't mean I was good at anything.
You and me both.
Yeah. And so when you're a kid and you're kind of active, but you have nowhere to outlet that, you kind of just stop. If you don't have people to play and you don't have direction to go with a sport, you just stop.
Hmm.
Television's so easy, and so I just started sitting in front of the television, and I got sick a lot. I had a lot of immune issues as a kid. I had a lot of digestive issues, and my dad was like, "Oh, you'll grow out of it. Don't worry about it. Just totally normal." I was like, "Okay." And then I turned 16, and I just started throwing up, and I couldn't stop. And
That's crazy.
Yeah, my whole body just crashed on me.
What does that mean? Like throwing up was a daily occurrence?
Yeah,
Oh,
multiple
wow.
times a day, just vomiting for no reason. We couldn't figure it out. And the information back then, people didn't know stuff. Um, you know, I was being told, oh, we'll eat the angel food cake diet, which is just sugar and flour.
Oh, I never heard of that. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah, the diet was a great suggestion. It really helped me out. I mean, that's where I got my muscle gains.
That's a real thing. I've never heard of that diet. The
That's
angel
what a
food cake
doctor put
diet.
me on. Yeah.
Okay.
But so it was just my parents were unsure what to do. So they just basically kind of put me in the hospital. And it was just test after test after test. Lots of starvation diets, because they need you to have nothing in your system to,
To
because
try to figure out what's causing it.
and so it's
Oh.
like you're just constantly being starved, and you're 16, you're hungry and you can't eat. And then uh, they're like, oh, well, let's take this organ out and let's take this organ out. They took out my gallbladder, they took out my appendix, they cut my stomach muscles,
Oh,
which
wow.
impacted my core stability and strength.
Sure, yeah.
They uh, put me on drug after drug after drug. Oh, actually, you don't have this. Oh, you have this is causing lesions on your liver to grow. They didn't tell me to get off the drug that was causing that, though. They're like, that's okay. Oh,
How
sorry.
long was this happening? Like, how long were you in the
This was a
hospital?
2 year span,
Oh, wow.
16 to 18. Yeah. Like, I remember, like, I'd get up, I'd throw up, I'd go back to laying in bed. I missed a lot of school. I had to basically have my teachers bring the school to me
Mm,
to graduate on time. But they were like, oh, well, we'll just throw you on the liver transplant list. Like, we'll keep you on this drug and throw you on the transplant list.
that's a lot to deal with as a young person.
Yeah, yeah, it was
And
hard.
they have no answers. They're just hoping to figure out what's causing it.
Correct, correct. Yeah. And so I was put on a lot of medications. And no one ever said, like, maybe you should try, changing your diet, exercise. So eventually, when I turned 18, they found out I had celiac disease, which is an autoimmune. And so basically, what was happening is when I'd eat gluten and stuff, my body would start attacking itself.
Okay.
And so that was leading to vomiting and immune issues and whatever.
Wow. Is there a spectrum of celiac? 'Cause it sounds like you had something rather severe and acute.
Yes. Yes, there is. Some people, they don't notice it. Some people, it affects their joints. So, like, maybe they develop, what's it called? Osteoporosis later, or their
Okay.
bones or whatever, or
Brittle or
yeah, they
weak.
yeah, they develop other things later. They don't notice it. or maybe it's just they kind of feel a little off. But mine, yeah, was a much more severe case.
So, I mean, was that a major turning point? Like, okay, we've actually identified what's causing the problem, and now we know how to treat celiac disease, and the sun came back out in your life, or was that not the case?
Absolutely not. So at the time, doctors really didn't know anything about it really either. It was really new, still a diagnosis. This was way back in like 2006. So it was
Okay.
still pretty new. So they're just like, well, you're allergic to gluten, okay, bye bye, and
Hmm.
just send me off into the world on my own. And so no, and I was 18 and I was starting college.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
I want to be like all the other kids. I want to eat the pizzas and do whatever. And um,
Did they give you like any dietary recommendations or things to avoid? Did they even tell you what gluten was? Or they just said you're allergic to gluten, have a good day?
yeah, basically. And I kind of like looked up like, okay, it's wheat, but it's more than that. It can be in more things than that.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
so I just went to college and was like, well, I guess I'll just not care about this. Like, what does it matter? Okay, I have it. So I ate what all my friends were eating and I threw up constantly and I
Oh,
was
wow.
out of energy all the time. We're talking like uh, with autoimmune, you can really hit low energy phases. So like having not enough energy to get off the couch, like
Okay.
just no energy to do anything. I couldn't walk a mile. And then, of course, the girls that I was around were like, oh, well, let's go to the gym and sit on the recumbent bike and we'll just turn our magazine pages and that's how you work out.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is terrible. I hate this. I don't want to do this. So I just didn't do fitness because that was
Mm.
female fitness. And then I was addicted to sugar terribly. I didn't realize any of those things. So then turned 21, still drinking, still throwing up, because you're 21 now, so you're gonna drink and
Right. Sure. That's not going to help anything.
no, and I just was gaining weight and doing terrible and just pretty miserable. And basically, the turning point for me happened when I turned 22. I graduated from college, and I developed a really severe case of pneumonia because my
Now
immune
back to the
system.
hospital.
Back to the hospital, yeah. And so I couldn't breathe without oxygen when I walked in.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and they said that my lung was like permanently damaged from how far it had progressed. Um, and then I was in the hospital for a week and on bed rest for a month after that. They're like, you will not return to work for a month. You will. It was bad. And I couldn't even walk down the hallway like by myself.
She's at 22 years old.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, at 22 years old, you're supposed to be arguably in just the prime of your life.
Right. I was like my marshmallow prime.
Oh man. I mean, not just the physical aspect, but that's going to be a lot to carry around mentally when you see what
Mhm.
everybody else who's 22 years old looks like, feels like, what they can do, and then what you're going through.
Right. Well, and my husband, who I've been with since I was 17, he is like the opposite, like the athlete, like you've described your wife,
Yes.
very fit, amazing. Anything he does, he's perfect at it, and
I know the type.
yeah, he was just the genetically blessed, like angel 1%. And so it was kind of watching him, and his whole life was, night and day from what I was experiencing. And so like I really saw what my lifestyle and habits had to basically landed me. You know, was there a potential that the pneumonia wouldn't have gotten as bad if my immune system wasn't so trashed?
Mm.
You know, and
Hmm.
so as I had said in what I wrote you, is I was sitting there on the couch, downing a bag of chocolate covered almonds,
Delicious.
the silent killer, yeah, just sitting there, just pounding them and like, is this what I want my life to look like? You know, overweight, sick, I can't do anything. My boyfriend can go off and do everything. He can climb mountains and I'm just here.
I was going to say, and I'm sure your energy levels were just in the toilet.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't walk a mile with him. And this was before pneumonia. I couldn't do that.
Mm.
I had no functionality, no capability. And um, people are like, oh, that's like so terrible, like that was awful. But for me, it was like, I'm glad I went through it because it really made fitness and health, like it was more than just to
That
look
was kind of your rock bottom awakening
good. Hmm.
moment.
Yeah. And so I was on Pinterest, which was like new at the time,
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And there was like this high intensity interval training. It was like, kick your butt in 12 minutes. I was like, that's not possible. You sit on the treadmill for an hour or whatever. You
Hmm.
can't kick your butt.
I remember
And
thinking the same thing about a short workout.
yeah, yeah. Said no one ever. It was only 10 minutes. Like,
Right, right.
right. And who knows what my form looked like. I'm sure it was terrible. I didn't know how to squat or do push ups or do anything. But I was like, I'm going to change it today. I'm going to do this workout. And 9 minutes in, I was on the floor, just dead. Like, like couldn't even
Great.
complete it.
I mean,
And
but
that,
that was a big like aha moment.
yep, that my life changed from that moment, and I never looked back. I never quit. It was like that was the momentum and the chance for me to see that it didn't have to be just one way of fitness, like standing on the treadmill. I could do something different.
That's so amazing that lit that fire. It's so cool. I mean, thank goodness you were just saw it on that day. Like all the stars aligned from the low point to the mood to the whatever it was, like it just all the pieces
Yeah,
fit.
yeah, it changed everything.
And literally from that day, you just haven't missed a workout.
Nope, except for like the usual, like, well, when I had my children, I
Fair
took
enough.
I
Fair
took
enough.
2 weeks off,
Okay,
and
fair
I was
enough.
supposed to take 6.
But that turning point was how many years ago that you basically became super dedicated?
13.
Wow. And okay, so you got on a track of moving your body, of
Mhm.
understanding that workouts come in all shapes, sizes, and varieties, and maybe didn't
Yeah.
think what you stereotypically had in your mind before.
Mhm.
So that's fantastic. When did you learn something different about nutrition?
So nutrition was kind of a very slow going process, kind of similar. So at first, I just started realizing I wanted to change my diet.
Okay.
Because I was like, I wanted to fuel my performance. But the information is
Mm,
terrible out there. And it was still the low sugar, the low fat stuff loaded in sugar.
yep.
Um, it's just not good information you're learning.
Yeah,
So I was
I grew up
trying,
in that world as well.
yeah, don't eat fat, eat lots of low fat sugar laden products. Don't really read your labels. So I stopped eating gluten, but I was still drinking. I was
Hmm.
still eating lots of sugar because I didn't realize, what it does to your body. And so it just kind of slowly was like a development of starting to learn. I really learned a lot when I joined CrossFit. That was where I
Okay.
really started having my eyes open to what true nutrition was. And that was 3 years later.
I was going to say, okay, so from that first high intensity or hit session there on
Mhm.
Pinterest to walking into the CrossFit gym was a few years.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then what opened up your field of view walking into the CrossFit space?
Oh gosh. Well, so I'd already decided I wanted to be a trainer because I
Cool.
wanted to spread my knowledge of like health and how it had changed my life, and I wanted to do that with others. And so I had this interview with this gym that didn't say anything. It's just like cutthroat. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll interview with them. And he's like, we're
Okay.
a CrossFit gym. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I've heard about it. It's like where you get injured.
Right,
People,
sure, right, of course.
yeah, people do that get injured. They're the crazy people.
The crazy people.
Yeah, but I walked in and there was like these monster women, in their 40s. There was a woman who didn't have legs, and she was doing pull-ups. I mean, she had to be like 90 pounds. She was doing pull-ups with two 45-pound plates attached to her body
Holy cow.
and just repping them out. And I was just like in love. And there were these Olympic lifts, and I just was like, what is this? Like, this is amazing. And so at first I didn't join on. Well, he was like, I can teach you what you need to know. He's like, you
Okay.
don't have the CrossFit certification. I'll teach you everything you need to know, but
Okay.
you have the right personality. And so I was like, oh, great. But at first I didn't start on the CrossFit. I didn't join in because I had been in the bodybuilding, powerlifting, and you're like, well, look how mobile everyone
Hmm.
is. He was like, okay, we're going to teach you how to do an overhead squat. And I'm like, an overhead what?
Right,
You
exactly.
know, and the other girl in the coach who's training with me, she just puts her arms up, pops down into a squat, and it's beautiful. And I couldn't even get down with a PVC pipe.
I have been there myself.
Yeah, you learn like,
It's
uh,
humbling.
oh, like you're humbled really fast. And so I was a little bit nervous to convert over because I didn't have the mobility, because bodybuilding really does not make a mobile,
Sure.
fit person as much as people want to think it does. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. So anyway, I was a little nervous, and then I did my first class and myself, like where I was, and that was it. And the gym owner was like, "Well, what do you want for your life?" And I said, "I want to be fit and functional the rest of my life." And he's like, "Then CrossFit is for you."
Fair enough. Yeah, 100%.
And it was, yeah. It's just, I love it. You love to hate it. I mean, it's hard,
Right, right,
but
exactly.
I love
It's
it.
uh it's challenging and miserable at times, but it works, and we all show
Yeah,
up when we do it again.
yeah.
So you stayed there for a while, right? But then you and your husband decided it was time to maybe start a family, and so kind of your where you decided to work out changed a bit.
Yeah, so I was working down in Denver actually in clinical research for pharmaceuticals,
Okay.
ironically, and then coaching at night. And it was like an hour to Denver to work, and then another hour to coach and
Mm,
train, and then another hour to home. So
jeez.
yeah, I was coming home at 9 o'clock at night. And he was like, we're like, let's start a family. And it's like, oh, I'm never home. It'd be a
Right.
little hard. And this isn't conducive to fitness for the rest of my life,
Hmm.
because I can't maintain this when we have a child.
No, that's a heck of a day, heck of a commute.
Mm-hmm. And I'm really shy and I'm pretty introverted. So I like to work out by myself. And so
Okay.
I don't need a group. I don't need someone to push me. I'm motivated on my own. So it was just a really easy transition to build out my garage, to the disappointment of my husband, because he's like, "That's for the cars." I'm like, "No, this is
I
for
love
my
a good
gym."
garage gym. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, and so I built it out and switched to online programming. And then I was with a different programmer for the 6 years that I basically had. Each of my kids is 2 years and 2 months apart.
Okay.
So my oldest is 5, and my middle is 3, and my youngest is 1.
5 through, and you get your hands full.
Yeah, and I homeschool them.
Oh man, yeah, you are a busy woman.
Yeah, yeah. But when I got pregnant with my son, I was like, my kids will always be a part of my fitness. Like, I'm not gonna wait for naps. I'm not gonna wait for the perfect conditions, because they'll never happen. So
Hmm.
they're gonna learn, and they're gonna learn right away. And as soon as they were born and out, like I said, I waited 3 days to work out after I had my first son, which was lunacy, but
Hmm.
really missed my fitness.
Yep. Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And then I was more patient with my second son. I made it 2 weeks. And then I was really patient with my daughter. I made it 1 week.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hey, it's working for you.
Yeah.
Can't say it's not working for you. That's cool to get your kids just involved with like, this is what we do in this household. This is how
Yeah.
we eat. This is how we move. This is what we prioritize. And so whenever I do these interviews, like I always say, we're definitely not looking to like name drop other programs or whatnot, but you were with a different one. And what made you eventually head over to Linchpin?
Well, so I had been with that one for 6 years, and I'd been listening to you for about 3 years, 3 of that time. I found Linchpin Conversations, and then I just started listening to it after I had my second son. And I
Gotcha.
kept
Okay.
hearing the knowledge you were informing people about, and then like how you kept saying your knees, your back, your shoulders shouldn't hurt. And it was kind of like, you know, ding, 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 ding,
Right,
you know.
right.
And I was kind of listening, and I was like, well, maybe I should try Linchpin, but I like wasn't ready to jump. And then, I had gotten used to the way that it was programmed, where I was doing the strength
Sure.
and then the Metcon, and everything was Metcons. And so I was like, oh, well, I've lost all these skills. I can't join Linchpin. I don't have any of these skills anymore. Because when everything's for time,
Hmm.
you lose a lot of skill, because you're just trying to get that clock. So you start modifying to make the time.
Sure. Right. Sometimes
Um,
unnecessarily.
yeah. And so I just kept listening to you. And then in 2024, after I had my daughter, I was just in so much pain. I was having neck injuries, which I'd never had, back injuries, overuse injuries, shoulder problems, and I was just miserable. And I was showing up because of my discipline, but I
Right.
hated it. I didn't
Right.
want to show up anymore. My central nervous system felt fried. and I stopped having energy to do things for my kids, you know?
Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be.
No, and so you were saying that, energy for your life, 1 hour a day, and so I was just like, I think I'm gonna try. And it was like a breath of fresh air, that
That
first
makes me
workout.
so happy. I mean, like you said, you might do magic legs and you're sore and, wrecked due to the exertion that you did and it's difficult, but that's different than you're living in chronic pain. Like you're not supposed to live in chronic pain in your knees,
Right.
neck, and shoulders from your workout program. That's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, and everything. I mean, the way that you program is so intelligent, and I can see it. I can look at the week and see all the different modalities and things you're covering, the not for time, the for time, and all the different areas of the body that you're working to make this synergistic unit. So, yeah, all those things went away. My low back pain, I finally was allowed to build my core back, which I hadn't been
Nice.
able to do after 2 pregnancies because I never had time. And that was affecting my lifts. That was
Mm,
affecting my all my other abilities because when you don't have a core, you
right.
yeah,
I'm
it's
struggling.
yeah, and it was just and I just was like, this is what I was waiting for. Like, I had assessed my goals. Was the gym I was with helping me to reach my forever fitness goals and be working out for the rest of my life? Or was
Mm,
it hindering? And I realized it was hindering, and then I didn't realize how much until I
right.
started Linchpin. And within the first week, all my overuse injuries on the upper part of my body were gone. I used to do
Oh,
push
that
press
makes me
or
happy to hear. Pain, I mean, we say pain free is the way to be. It really is.
yeah,
Nobody wants chronic pain.
And I every time I do an overhead press, I'd have pain in my neck, in my body, and I feel wrecked for the whole rest of the day. And I
Mm,
wasn't even using weights that I'm using now. Like I'm not particularly strong. I have to work
mhm.
towards it, right? I'm not like that person who walks in like 400 pounds, boop.
Right.
It's like it's work for me. And I was using way less weight than I use with Linchpin. Like Linchpin, I pop out the 35s and it's like, boop, 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 boop.
Good for you. Those 35-pound dumbbells are no joke.
I know it is because of you. Like I used to not be able to do the 25s because when everything is for time, you
Mm.
lose your strength. And when you are mixing it around, like the way you do it, like you're like saving people's lives and making us really awesome in the process.
Oh, that warms my heart. I mean, again, that's the whole goal, is ideally we're all going to be doing this together for a really long time because
Yeah.
I can't imagine a time in my life that squatting won't be important or picking
Right.
something up off the ground won't be important or being able to move my body won't be like it's just, it is what it is. And so, yeah, and I got young kids too. I got to run around with them. Life's hard enough. I need these knees, back, and shoulders to last because
Right.
these
And you
kids
gotta
are
like
they
pick
don't
them up.
stop.
You gotta pick them up too. Like when they're little, you
Yep,
can't be like, no, I'm too sore to pick you up today.
yep.
Sorry.
My little daughter, she is in the garage a lot when I work out. She's about to turn 4, and this morning before she went to school, she laid on the ground, and it's just so funny what kids see. She didn't know the word for power clean, but she knew the word barbell, and she said, make pretend that I'm a barbell and work out with me. So I grabbed her and I was basically doing like ground to shoulder with her. And
Yep.
she was just squealing and laughing. It was the greatest thing in the whole world. I'm like, this is cool. Like this is, they want to, this is play to them, which is,
Yes.
mission accomplished.
Yeah, you make them kettlebell swings, you do them to ground to shoulder to overhead,
Yeah, exactly.
or you throw them over your shoulder.
Whatever you need. I mean, but you have been through the ringer. I mean, from a young age to now, facing more things that most people, if they faced one of those things, it'd be a bummer. But you had, hit after hit after hit, and you somehow figured it out and turned your life around physically, nutritionally, the whole 9 yards. And, 3 kids through pregnancies and all that stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of men and women out there, but, specifically probably moms that are just tired,
Yeah,
overworked, not getting enough sleep, don't know when in the world they would find enough energy even to do a 10-minute workout. They're stuck
yeah,
in some sort of rut that seems like they ain't never going to get out of this rut.
yeah.
Based upon what you've been through, what would be just one or two pieces of advice or lessons learned to that crowd?
Well, one is that your energy will improve from going in the garage.
Mm.
So I found, and I was very nauseous for all three of my pregnancies. They were all pretty much identical. Um, I was very fatigued, like very fatigued. But what I found is if I walked into the garage and I started, my energy throughout the day was still better.
I
So
buy
yeah, I mean, your energy will be better if you walk in. Your body will like adapt with you. And then the other thing is, remember what you're doing it for. Like fitness gave me the healthiest pregnancies. Now, when I was 16, they told me you'll never have children. You are
that.
unhealthy.
Crazy.
Yeah, you'll never be able to have children. And I have had three very easily, and three wonderful pregnancies that were very healthy. And if you want to like the healthiest chance at a pregnancy, you can't. Everyone has genetics, and it's not a
Hmm.
fail safe, but it gave me really healthy pregnancies, and it also trained my mind for birth.
Mm.
My when I so I did two home births with just me and my husband. We just birthed our babies by ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Adventurous.
yeah, yep. Labor was an hour from start to finish. Pop, kids just came right out.
That's amazing.
But I would treat each contraction like a interval training from CrossFit, right? And so, like, my husband didn't think I was in real labor because I was so relaxed. He was like, "You can't be in labor," but really, it was just like, "Oh, oh, oh, okay, we're in an interval right now. Oh,
You're like,
we're
this
good.
is real. This is
Yeah,
happening.
yep. Oh, we're good. Okay, that's just how is your day going? How are you doing? Oh, hold on a second, we're in an interval again."
Oh, that's crazy. Well, I think that advice is solid, especially there's almost never an ideal time to start working out or change your life. I mean, but you just got to walk in and start. Just walk in. And you're not lying. I've heard it over and over again. Like, even though it sounds like walking into the garage and doing something physically exerting should make you more tired over the course of the day, in a bizarre reverse way, it will actually provide more energy if you just stick with it and get through that
Yeah.
phase. The payoff is worth it. Like
And
hanging
it
in there.
improves your mood. It improves your energy. Like it's like stacking those bricks, right?
Yeah.
Stacking them for all the good things that you want and remembering, like, what do you want? Because if
Yes.
you want it, then you have to work for it. And there's no way around that. And I don't care how many pills there are and whatever, like you say all the time, like if you eat like a drunken pirate, you're not going to have the aesthetic you want.
100%. I wish there was just a snap your fingers easy path, but there's not. And you've lived that hard path, and you are, I see your posts and in the BGW squad and all that stuff. You're a beacon of positivity, and so I'm just extraordinarily happy that you get to share your story. Again, your posts fire me up, and thanks to you for being, I mean, honestly, a big part of what makes Linchpin so special. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks. It's really been um, big. It was a clutch move. It was a clutch move. Like I'm really glad I did it.
Again, much appreciated to you. I know that you're going to keep putting in the work, so I've got no doubt that everything's going to be good to go. Good luck with your three kids, and I will see you online.
All right, sounds good, Pat. Thanks.
Have a good day.